Okay, let's go ahead and call the meeting in order, please. Well, the City of Peru Common Council for March 5th, 2018 to order. We have the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilman Tom Guston and the invocation by Brent Wedding.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father, we thank you for this evening. We thank you, Lord, for our mayor, our city council, for our police department, our fire departments, and all of those that work to make this a great town, a great place to live. We pray for your blessings and your favor upon this city, that we would see economic growth and just your blessings in every area. We pray that you bless this meeting tonight, fill the council's heart with wisdom. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, well, roll call.
Holland.
I think so.
Guston.
Here.
Torrance. Here. Lee.
Here.
Alley.
Here.
Langwell. Here. Crosskop.
Here.
All right. Next, we have the reading correcting of the journal.
Move we suspend the rules and dispense with the reading and correcting of the journal.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Crosskop and seconded by Councilwoman Lee to dispense of the rules and the reading and correcting of the journal. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. All right, next we have communications.
Looks like we have a presentation by Mr. Strebe.
Could I go last?
I suppose so. I mean, at the end of the meeting?
Yes.
At the end? Okay.
Thank you.
May I do the civic
Well, we haven't got that far yet.
Oh, you haven't got that
No,
far?
good, okay.
Well, where
Chief.
haven't?
Chief, you have, you're next
Oh.
on the list there. Is this going to tie into what you've got? Go ahead.
It's just got a kind of continuation.
All right, go ahead.
Just a refresher, what we kind of talked about last meeting was whether or not we wanted to continue with the lease program that we're currently on, or whether or not we wanted to start purchasing vehicles. And I did do some number crunching, and I think the number one number that I crunched that would probably be of the most significant number is, I only looked at one lease that we have of the four that we currently run, and the one that stood out to me really well because it's a 3-year lease, and by going with leasing vehicles, we're spending over just a touch over $5,000 in interest in 3 years. So obviously that's a lot of money. Right now we currently have, I believe, 8 vehicles that are being leased for us right now. So I think the math is pretty easy that if we multiply that number by 4, we're looking at $20,000 in 3 years that we're spending just to lease vehicles. So with that being said, I guess what I'm just asking of the council is I want to start putting in the budget to purchase, like I said before, 3 1 year to the next, 3 year one to the next. And I would hope that you'll have enough faith and confidence in me that I'll be fiscally smart with that money. I mean, obviously you trust me with about a little over $1 million, $1.5 million, or $1.5 million anyways. So I guess I'm just asking for you to trust me, to have faith in me that I'm not just going to buy cars when we don't need to replace them. That, oh, that car looks like it's getting 90,000 miles, I'm going to replace it. That we'll continue to watch those vehicles, watch the maintenance of those vehicles. We do a good job of that. Steve Hoover, the assistant chief, does an outstanding job of keeping track of that for us, for the city. I guess that's just where I want to leave it right now at this point. I don't know if you have any questions. I did do some number crunching, and I can provide those numbers, but what I'm probably looking at is trying to buy vehicles either out of public safety LOIT, and I'll work hand in hand with Chief Hawk over here. I know currently he doesn't really spend a lot of money on a public safety LOIT, but I think that will probably be my first step every single time I want to go buy a vehicle, is to touch base with him first to say, hey, here's how much money is in there. What are you guys looking at for the rest of the year? We have a car that is just nickel and diming us to death. I'd like to replace that car and just purchase it rather than us continuing to spend that excess money on interest rates. And the only other fund, we talked about the CCD and the CCI funds. I think the CCI fund is something I'll probably just totally leave alone. Right now, just as an example, out of the CCD fund, we spend around $50,000 a year right now for the 4 vehicles that are being leased. Those payments are coming out of the CCD. So if we just look at that, that maybe possibly looking at purchasing one vehicle out of the CCD every year from there on, once these leases are paid for, it'll be around that $40,000, $45,000 range. Once again, not buying cars just to buy them, not to say, hey, it's in the budget, I'm going to buy a car. And that's where I guess I stand right now, is just to ask for permission to just continue to purchase them when the money and the funds are there, rather than going on a lease. And the reason why I guess I say this too is because I know when we first came into office, myself, Mayor Greer, and Tish, a little over 2 years ago, we talked about developing a 5-year plan, and I think we all kind of came into it a little bit naive and curious as to how that would work. And I know Mayor Greer has talked recently about, hey, let's go ahead and revamp our 5-year plan now that we have a little bit better understanding, and we can see where money will go and how we can save money in areas that it'll work. And so when you talk about a 5-year plan, it's kind of tough for me when you talk about purchasing vehicles, because I don't want to say, okay, we're going to buy 3, buy 2, buy 3, when we don't need them. But I'd like to be able to put that in the budget so that it reflects that, but not spend that money just to spend it. And I know I kind of keep repeating myself, but I just want to reiterate numerous times to you that I'm not just going to buy vehicles just to purchase them. So with that being said, I guess that's about all I have to say at this point, unless you have some questions.
I got a question. It's more for you, Tish, is that if we budget that and put that on a line item, is that not then earmarked for that?
It is earmarked for it, yes.
Yeah, so
Just because it's budgeted doesn't mean that it's used, though. We have lots of budgeted things that end up rolling back into the general fund
So we do have that ability to roll that.
Pull your mic over.
Absolutely.
He wanted to use my mic.
I got one.
And I guess maybe if I could even go off that too, that would be something I'd like to do, is put it in the budget. Maybe we put 2 vehicles in the budget, and then if I feel like we need a third, then I come back to the city council and say, hey, listen, we have,
We're carrying insurance on those leased vehicles,
correct.
so buying it would be a better idea.
Right, I mean,
Well, you
well, we're
still
going to have
insure
insurance
those
either
too.
way, but
It
yes.
gets rid of that.
Right, yeah, that interest is the thing I think that bothers me the most when we talk about $2,500 every 3 years that we're spending per vehicle on interest rates.
If you need our support, you got mine.
I have a question. So as far as insurance, buying new cars, will that up the insurance policy, or will it pretty much stay the same?
I do.
Does it equal out?
I would have to talk to the insurance company, but I believe it would stay the same, because as soon as you buy and/or lease, you're basically putting insurance on that vehicle, and I don't know that the insurance company necessarily cares whether we're buying or leasing. They're just saying that that car is worth $40,000, so we're going to provide insurance for that amount regardless either
So you're
way.
staying with pretty much within the insurance budget,
Correct,
car-wise?
correct.
Does the city want to tie up their capital that way in purchasing cars?
I'm sorry?
Does the city want to tie up capital that way in purchasing cars? You're putting whatever, 40,000 at a time, putting it in a car, it runs up and down the street. You run it through a lease, you're only paying out so much.
Right, either way, I guess I don't really even know, when we go into the lease program, I think what we're doing there is if I buy a vehicle, then it's not making us pay the 45, and I guess that's the other consideration too, is how much money do we recoup back off of $45,000 if we don't spend it right away? I don't know that number. However, I
If I
guess.
may interject.
Pardon me?
If I may interject,
Yes.
I think I could be some help to this question. Every year, we do an annual financial report, and a part of that report is we have to report all of our debt that we have.
Right.
So they do take into consideration, I have to report every single lease, every single debt, all the way down to, if we had a small lease on like a printer or something, I would still have to report that too. So the state is very aware of our debt every year as far as it influencing anything.
I also want to point out, we do have a 5-year plan that we did pay for through UMBAL. And we give them copies of the 5-year plan to the council members. It has all the funds, how much is in them, the projected fund balances. And we do have an Appendix B is the capital outlay. And in Appendix B, you'll find under the police department, we have budgeted in our 5-year plan that we went through with the city council, the department heads, 2 purchases of cars next year and 5 purchases of cars in 2020. It is part of the 5-year plan, and we did discuss when we went over all of that with the city council in 2016 that we were going to move away from leases into purchasing because of the reasons that Chief Meeks has mentioned. So I would just encourage everyone to please look at, utilize the 5-year plan that we did pay for from UMBAL and paid for UMBAL to come and talk to us and explain in detail the 5-year plan. It is in there, all of the fund balances, all of the projections of where the funds will be and where we're planning on taking out items until 2020. I believe it actually goes to 2021 in some of the projections. Now that will need to be updated. I think in that 5-year plan, each vehicle's $35,000. I don't know if that reflected the charger cost, and I think you might be talking about costs for an SUV. Okay.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
The only comment I have is, and I agree with Terry, is that you're spending a lot of money out front, $40, $80, $120,000 at one lump sum rather than spreading it out over a period of time. Rule of thumb in the past has been you buy things that appreciate in value and lease things that depreciate in value. Obviously, cars do nothing but go down in value as the longer you have them. So you're spending $40,000 versus leasing it for 3 years, so you're not hamstringing yourself and taking all that cash off the balance sheet in 1 year. So that's what I think that's what Terry was alluding to.
That's what I thought.
Yep.
A new vehicle, doesn't it?
That makes sense.
Depreciate more than 2,500 in 3 years. It depreciates that much when you
Oh, yeah.
drive it off the lot.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
Cash flow. That's
Sure,
cash.
and I totally understand that, but I guess I'm just, once again, I guess I look at the $2,500 in interest that we're spending over those 3 years, that if we, I just don't know if you keep $40,000 in the bank, let's just say, and you spend $15,000 per year on that payment, are we going to recoup $2,500 in interest from the money?
Not
that's
at
still
today's
remaining?
current interest rates, no. But
So I guess that's just where I'm going, is to be a little bit more fiscally smart. I wanted to see about going into purchases rather than leases. And once again, like I said, to not hamstring, the next administration that would come into too.
Right.
I was under the impression that these leases were a lease to own an agreement for a set amount of years. Is that not right?
That is right.
So we're paying for the cost of the car regardless. It's just a matter of whether or not you want to pay
We're
interest
just
on it or
paying
not.
interest as well. And my comment about I report the debt, basically what I was trying to get to there is it's speaking for that money anyway. I understand that you don't want to tie up capital, but it's essentially tied up anyway because we have to report that we have that debt. So it's essentially tied up anyway.
Because the state's not going to let you carry debt more than what you have in assets.
So how long does this turnaround take? I mean, you're wanting to get rid of all these leases and then purchase vehicles. And so what's the time frame that we're looking to be able to accomplish this? And then be on that every year cycle?
Next year, we have 6 vehicles tied up in a lease. And then we will be done.
6?
6 vehicles.
Yeah.
So you're looking at least
But
2 years?
knowing right now that we probably need 2 vehicles at least right now. I have a car that has about 130,000 miles and the bumper's rusted out, so.
So you're 2, possibly 3 years to clear all 3 or all 6 of those?
Correct, yeah, probably most likely by March to March to June of next year, everything will be paid off through our leases.
Through the lease, okay.
Correct. And that amount of money, if you want to know, is almost $73,000.
Once again, we have 2 budgeted in the 5-year plan for next year
Right.
for straight-out purchase.
On the
And-
purchase part, not the lease?
Right, on
Okay,
purchase.
yeah.
As far as our 5-year plan that we went through with the city council in 2016.
I guess I'm not wanting to walk away. I guess I'm curious as to where we go from here. I mean, I agree with what Mayor Greer's saying. I mean, can we just do that? We'll pay these off, go with the 2-year, we'll purchase 2 next year and just see.
Well, you're gonna put it in the budget for next year. We'll have to just, we'll cross that bridge when we do budget in August, put it and see where it comes out.
We trust you to do it right, how's that?
Pardon me?
We trust you to do it right.
Right.
Do our best, for sure.
But you got to see how it fits in with the rest of your budget, and we would find that in August, whatever this year, so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Okay, Cheryl, you're chomping at the bit to talk about the
Okay.
Civic Center, so go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Well, for the last month's report, we only had 2 guests for the Civic Center, and this year it's improved, so we have 330 total guests and 12 meals, and total amount of meals is 287, and catering was 645. So I'm just saying that, you know, it's come up, thank goodness, within this last month. Paid back to the city is 205.60, and I just keep encouraging people to use our Civic Center. It belongs to the city, so, you know, don't forget the Civic Center when you want to plan your events. Thank you.
Okay.
Kurt, you guys asked me for an update on the code enforcement last meeting. Would you like that now?
Please.
This is the numbers. And then I also have these 2 folders I'd like to share with you. These are the only copies we have. They're all colored print, so they want to make 10 copies of stacks of papers of colored print. So if you guys could just look at these. These are the highlights from the last couple of months with the code enforcement. One folder marked "We Clean." Those are properties you can see before and afters of properties where we sent notice for people to clean up the property and they were not clean. So the city ended up cleaning them and then sending the bill. These are "They Clean," which is not reflected in any numbers that you'll see in front of you, because the ones that were cleaned by the owners, they got notice. They understood that if they didn't clean up their properties, then they would be fined and the city would have to clean it up for them. So I take special pride in the "They Cleaned" folder, because like I said, that's not reflected in the numbers before you because we didn't find them. That also shows a partnership with the people in Peru and our building department, and that we're building a rapport and working with people to help them get their own properties cleaned up on their own. It's not just us going in and finding people. But like I said, you won't find that reflected in any numbers, and I think it's the more impressive of the 2.
Okay, very good.
Did code enforcement folks find anybody else to help with the mowing? know they
I
were still
spoke to
looking
them
for
this morning, and they still had 1 position left.
Okay.
So, so the audience knows, it's received from code enforcement, the total was $47,703.09.
Make sure you're not in there. Okay, so we're passing those down. I guess we can continue on.
Next, we have unfinished business.
Before we address ordinance 4, and it's been tabled right now, has anything been done? The last 2, I assume this is the same one we've tabled in January and February.
Yes.
Has some progress been made before I take it off the table?
Well, the commissioners, to your question, said no. They don't have any plans or intention to putting down the gravel for the other half of the alley. As far as the county building commissioners' belief that the county commissioners have a final say on that, I think it's pretty black and white. I don't, the city has the 2 mile jurisdiction. We've had a 2 mile jurisdiction at least going back to 1976. All records we have don't show us taking anything that we've done in the 2 mile jurisdiction then to the county commissioners, but that's what's being said now. So as far as that goes, I guess the county building commissioner has one belief, and we have a separate belief. I don't know what to do about that, so.
So what do we tell these people? I mean, we're still where we were 60 days ago.
Well, like I said, no,
Take
you
it off the
guys have,
table, and.
no, you got both
somebody's
your
gonna win,
answers.
somebody's
Both your answers are, one, no, the commissioners won't put down gravel in the second half, and two, you have the jurisdiction, you have 2 mile radius around the city, and that's the two answers.
It hasn't been brought for discussion yet. I'm just, before we exercise a lot of time here, I'm trying to figure out if anything is, if we're gonna get anywhere, so.
Well, and also keep in
I-
mind that if the council takes no action on it at this meeting, by state law, the planning commission's recommendation then becomes the ruling. So the planning commission ruled against it. If the council were to table it again, then the city council, or the city planning commission's ruling would then take effect, because the city council has 90 days to make a decision one way or the other.
Well, I move we remove ordinance 4, 2018 from the table.
Second?
Councilman Krauskopf has made the motion to remove ordinance 4, 2018 from the table, seconded by Councilman Guston. Roll call.
Holland?
Yes.
Guston?
Yes.
Torrance?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Alley?
Yes.
Langwell?
Yes.
Krauskopf?
Yes. Okay. So we're still bouncing it back and forth between the county and the city.
No, that's not what I said. We're
Well, you
not.
said that they weren't going to gravel it or improve it.
That's correct.
But
Okay.
they are within the 2 mile radius, which means the city can vote to gravel it.
No, we can vote to vacate it. That says nothing about what happens after it's vacated. It means that the claim to that property by the county is gone. Doesn't mean that they then will do something else after that.
Right, but I'm just saying it's within our jurisdiction to make a ruling.
Yes.
But the county is responsible for the maintenance on the highways, roads, gravel, alleys in this case, and they would be the ones responsible for actually laying that down and paying for that. Whether or not they did in this case,
They said they're not going to do that.
Right.
And that was, that's
Yeah,
told they're not
I
going to
spoke to
do
the
it.
commissioner. They said that they don't have any intention of maintaining any more alleys.
So if we close this north-south road and the east-west alley is not upgraded, then we're stuck again, right? Yes, Brenda?
Dave and I got a couple of estimates on us laying the gravel in the alley. We talked to Miami Trucking, they want to come out and look at it. But, we're willing to forego that, but
Yeah, if the county is unwilling to pay for it, we'll pay for it.
It doesn't seem right.
I know.
It doesn't seem right. It's just, that's what government is supposed to do, is to maintain roads. That's what you pay your taxes for. It doesn't seem right. Yes?
What does the 2 mile jurisdiction mean? I mean, what does it actually do with the benefit for the city?
And the 2 mile jurisdiction is zoning, so the city exercises its zoning authority in a 2 mile radius, and it has been pretty clearly defined that the zoning just has to do with zoning, which is the city ordinance is 151. And it's been that way, like I said, at least going back until 1976. I guess the idea behind that is if this road is the border between the city and the county, and there's a zoning issue, people within the city I guess, would want to exercise right to have some say what's happening right across the street. That's the general idea of it, and it's not, Peru's not unique to that. That's throughout the state. If you have a municipality that has a planning commission, then they exercise a 2-mile radius. Bunker Hill's the same way, too.
Well, I know a while back when the 2 mile went in, our taxes went up because we were in that. They went up a certain percent because we fell in that 2 mile. Is that true?
I can't speak to that. I don't know.
Yeah, because I was wondering what that does, because we have no benefits from the city, and it's real close to city taxes. And there's no,
Well, I know that
there's a fire hydrant out there.
Right. The only thing I can tell you is that you might be mistaking that for the fire territory. There was a fire territory established, and I don't know if the fire territory goes out and what it doesn't. I can't say, because the city doesn't take any tax dollars outside of its corporate boundaries. So I don't know how that would be associated with that.
Okay, so if, I guess my question to you for back there, if we vote to close the north-south portion of that alley, is everybody going to be comfortable with that? Or somebody, I'm trying to,
Kurt, you got one?
I see, I'm asking, I'm talking to them right now.
That's initially what we came here for,
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
put it back the way that it was, you know, it used to go straight through.
That's what you'd prefer to have done.
Yes,
And that's what we'd prefer to have done.
yes.
But it's,
The alley.
unfortunately, doesn't seem to be the city's responsibility. Yes?
So, asking how they feel about closing it, what about my building that would be legally landlocked by it?
That's why I'm,
And if they're willing to put the gravel down, then are they responsible if anything happens on that? And are they responsible to maintain that?
Well, then, basically what you're saying there is the easiest route is just to close it.
no,
That would landlock my commercial building.
Well, right, but if they're willing to leave it open and pay for the gravel, and then you're gonna say if something happens, you're gonna hold them responsible for it. I wouldn't put the
No, I
gravel
asked
down.
Who would be responsible?
Glenn, you're talking about two different areas.
Yeah.
The part that we're closing is not the part that they're willing to.
They're willing to gravel, that's that short, okay.
they're talking about closing the north-south portion. The east-west portion to the east is not being maintained.
It's there.
They're talking about putting gravel down on the east-west portion because the county won't maintain it.
Gotcha.
So, but it is still an alley in this, outside the city of Peru limits.
They're still paying county taxes.
That the county won't do anything about.
So what did our zoning guys say?
Huh?
What did our zoning guys say about closing the alley?
Well, the City of Peru Planning Commission has, I don't know whether that word is now or not, given its favorable
Not given their
recommendation.
favor.
Huh? It says no.
It just says no.
No given,
Got a typo.
yeah.
Is it now given its favorable recommendation? Is that what that?
No.
We have a member of that committee here.
Okay.
If we could ask him for that typo.
The vote was against closing the alley.
Against closing the alley.
Now, one other thing, as far as your building being landlocked, you still have access from that east-west alley from the west end.
From the west.
So the only difference you would have is you wouldn't be able to go down New York Street.
And waste management won't go down to pick up my trash because there's nowhere to turn around.
That's waste management's problem with the county, not these folks' problem. These folks have been maintaining that whole area. I mean, they're taking care of that New York Street that is not even a street. So they've been doing all of this, which has benefited you, because you've been able to use that. You also have Chicago Street right there, right, that your building's on, correct?
My building is in the center of those two areas.
But you can go down that and hit that alley and hit it that way, correct? So this is a second entrance. So you could hit it that way, but this is the second entrance for you off of that other street, correct?
And what happens since utilities has right of way through there? If utilities, NIPSCO, AT&T, or Comcast is working in that, then I can't get to or from that building.
except down the east-west alley from the west end.
No, if we close it so there's just one access road, Peru Utilities, NIPSCO, Comcast, and AT&T all use that
To
section.
maintain their poles and stuff.
Right.
Seriously, out of the entire year, how many times have they blocked it off completely where you would?
Since I've gotten this, NIPSCO's already been in there on one occasion.
And they were just putting in a new line.
I didn't stop to see. I
Yeah,
went
that's
down
what-
to the
that's what
road.
they were
I
doing.
went down to the
That
road.
was for the house we bought. They had to put a new meter in. But what Shane's saying is, I mean, I feel like this is the county's deal, okay? And I think they want to stop it at Kelly, and it comes west. It's platted as that whole thing being an alley, and it has been forever, okay? And so, New York never was a street. It was a proposed, and it never was an alley. I remember when it was two ruts there. I think there was an owner that used to be in their house, and Donaldson's that paved it. But the whole thing about the trash truck is, yeah, they should be able to have access to that whole alley from Kelly Avenue all the way down to Chicago. You know, so I really believe, does the commissioners have a meeting, the county commissioners? Because I don't know how they're shrugging this whole thing off. I don't understand how this is not county. They always keep saying, we're in the county, we're in the county, we're in the county. They maintain all the roads all the way down there, and that's been there forever. And I have seen them plow it, and I have seen them grade it one time. That's been years ago, and it was a county truck. So I don't know why, I don't see how it isn't county. I don't see how they can shirk that responsibility.
Commissioners meet Mondays.
Yeah, I think every other Monday, I think.
I don't either. That's why I was tabling it to begin with in January, because it seems to be their decision, not ours. Except it falls in our zoning, so
But I do know, and we know that the building commissioner over there is more than willing to exert her thought into this over there and have it go before the commissioners.
The problem, though, is that it doesn't matter, because you got folks that are against it, you got folks who are for it. If we acquiesce to something that's clearly wrong in the written law, then all they gotta do is, the people that are mad just goes and follows the suit, and then avoids whatever's done. So we gotta do it to the law, regardless of what the county building commissioner thinks is the law. We have to do it according to the law, because if we don't, then there's gonna be people upset, and there's gonna be a clear avenue for lawsuit against it.
But if it's platted as an alley, which it is, that is platted as an alley. So, who's responsible for it?
There's no question who's responsible for it, it's the county.
It's the county.
That's not a question.
Okay.
The thing that gets me about all of this is the fact that that northwest, or north-south alley, it only goes
Right,
to that main alley.
right.
It only goes that far.
Tom, that's not even an alley. That was a proposed street that was never
Right.
put in, so you can't even count that as an alley.
Well, I went down there and drove it all,
Yeah.
drove it all.
So if it's a proposed street, then it doesn't even really exist?
No,
Nope.
it does not.
Shortest street in Peru.
but it's proposed and it's used as such, and they're asking that it be, the plot be vacated.
Well, what I'd like to ask the county is, if it's not an alley and it's a street, are they gonna maintain it as a street then?
That's it.
Because it's not been blacktopped, it hasn't been done anything except it's rutted up. So are they gonna maintain it as a street if it's not an alley and it's not, what is it?
That would take care of the
But
big
the
one there.
unfortunate thing is, we're at a situation now where we have to make some decision on it.
Well, I think the county should be involved with it too.
Yeah, but we can't table it anymore.
Regardless of what decision, either way that goes, the alley is the responsibility of the county to maintain, and that doesn't change no matter what we do. There's roads and there's alleys that have been neglected for a long time. People could say that about streets in the city. People can say that about streets in the county. So what we do has no bearing on whether or not it's their responsibility. And every one of us has our budgets we work within, and time constraints and everything else. So if this is low on their priority list, there's not going to, from from my standpoint, I don't know what you would do to make it higher on their standpoint. I mean, you could go and talk to them and pressure them, but it is and always will be their prerogative to maintain that alley.
Can I ask a question? If, as Tom says, it's neither an alley nor a street, then it would seem to me that the land actually belongs to the adjacent landowners. It would be their responsibility to do with.
That's what we're deciding.
Seems pretty simple.
Hi there. And there's no problem with that, except then we've got a building back there that's sitting on a half an alley, and there's no access to it from the east, only from the west. And then the trash trucks will come down there, so what do you do?
It runs the whole, this
Yes,
is,
it does, I drove it.
right, but it's just grassed over.
Yeah, it's not, I mean, it's drivable.
Right.
If it's privately held land, then it would be up to the private landowners to work that out among themselves.
It isn't properly held land.
Public right away.
But the alley,
No.
the actual alley does in fact run the whole length, it's just half of it's grass.
Less than half of it.
That's the long east-west alley.
Yeah, right. So I mean, there's still technically access to get all the way through the whole thing. Just makes it more convenient to go down the,
But we can beat this to death again
Street.
for another 20 minutes. Mr. Attorney, what do we do? You're the law. You tell us what we do.
Well, like the mayor said, decision has to be made one way or another. If we table it, it's gonna be a negative, the negative favor or recommendation of the plan commission will take effect. If you do pass it, and vote in favor of vacating it and closing it, then we move forward and follow the state law that we're enforcing the 2-mile jurisdiction in that case. And then if the county fails to act on it from that point, which likely, then it doesn't fix their problem, it doesn't take care of the issue at hand. So, it's a tough situation.
I don't see how we win. I don't see how anybody wins if the county's not going to maintain
the
it.
decision. What's paid to do is make.
however, I think it puts a little bit more pressure on the county though,
The yes vote.
if we vote in favor of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not all choices are easy. We got to make a choice.
Can I say something?
Yep, good.
Just, we come to this point, and I think a meeting or so ago, the county should have been more involved with this until now, and now all of a sudden there's got to be a decision made today when somebody drug feet on getting with the county prior to this. It wasn't, I would have went to the county if I would have been told to go. I don't know why the last meeting, remember we asked them if they talked to the county.
Yep.
They hadn't talked to the county.
It's
And
because
now-
it's not the county's duty to decide that.
Then if it is, if it's a city,
That's right.
then
He's
the
talking
city
about
should
the
have the
alley.
responsibility of the alley.
Yeah, I know.
Not the street.
So if it's the alley that needs to be stoned, then it should be the city to do it.
No.
It has to be the county, because that is county property.
Then why didn't we talk to the county prior to this meeting?
Because it's not their jurisdiction.
We have talked
For
to
closing
the
it.
county about it, and they said that they are not going to gravel it. They said they want to gravel it. Right.
Your government at work.
I see that.
Red. I don't, that's why I tabled it 2 times, because I thought we'd come up with some kind of a solution with the county, but it doesn't appear that that's going to happen, so I don't know.
I think we have enough home alleys to take care of right here in Peru that need a lot of.
We can't take care of it anyway, fellows, we can't. It's not our jurisdiction to take care of it. But that's why I wanted some assurance from the county that they would take care of if we close New York Street, so that the gentleman doesn't lose access to his building back there. So no, we're not. It's our jurisdiction, but we don't take care of it. I don't know.
So if Dave and I lay the gravel, is it all right?
You'd have to get the county's approval, I would think. I mean,
Well, why on the,
There's a gravel bed there, it's just grass on the top of it. you know, it's not that,
You
we've been
can
driving it.
go out and buy a whole bunch of Triax or Weed Be Gone or Roundup. Yes.
If the county came back and did it, say, 6 months from now and gravelled the whole thing, could this be brought back up to have it closed?
No.
It'd have to be 1 year.
Yeah, you have to wait a year after something's brought before the planning commission to have a different decision made.
This is confusing.
I don't know. There's your, that's it. If you vote to close it, then the gentleman has a problem getting the trash and people access to his building. If we vote it down, then they don't get to put the buildings that they want to do.
Roll call?
The county, the Peru Planning Commission has voted not to do it, so.
Not to do it.
Or if we do vote to close it, maybe it might force the county to do something.
I'm with you.
It's a big maybe.
It's a big maybe.
It-
But it's a big maybe they don't do anything.
Correct.
Oh, wait, we already know they're not.
It's a big maybe because legally, in the real court of law, it's illegal to landlock somebody in. And the definition of a landlock is based upon how wide that alley is to get there. Can it be a two-way street?
No, it's never going to be a two-way street.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't before.
Then you have to look up the definition of a landlock.
Well, then, he had a legally suit to file before because it was,
Correct, because that should have never been split off.
right, so it doesn't make a difference one way or the other.
Yes.
The term landlocked, he's not landlocked. But the thing about the trash is an issue.
The thing about trash is an
Has
issue.
to be getting in there. You know,
And that's a trash
that's a-
issue. That isn't an issue what we're talking about.
And
We're
that's-
talking about the alley, not trucks. Most people have drive in one way, turn around, drive out the other. The other end down by our place is always open. He's not locked. He bought the building knew what it was. You know, and he's had a for sale sign on the building. We're trying to get something set up that's going to be laid in stone, literally, for anybody else that comes down in that area, that's an alley that goes from this end to that end, period.
The rest of the whole alley needs to be maintained. It's just not that other part that needs to be opened up.
I understand.
The
I
whole
know.
thing has to be opened up. And the house that we own, that's going to be a rental or whatever, it's going to have trash pickup too. So that whole thing has to be done for the trash truck to come down. That's for sure. You know, that whole thing needs to be opened up. So that's why we're here. It's more about that and the other part. As far as closing the other street, I mean, that's their issue here. But somebody has to claim that alley. We pay taxes and it's an alley. It's platted an alley for, I don't know how many years, 80?
I don't think there's a dispute as to who owns that alley. It's clear that the county owns that. They just are not choosing to maintain it, and they said they are not going to maintain it. However, you pay tax dollars, and I would recommend going to the commissioners' meetings on Monday.
Yeah, that's what I'm planning on doing. But I just want to know about the issue here, what happens with that, if they gravel it later on in the year or whatever, you know, that's the whole thing. So you're telling us that to get anything done, we're going to have to go to the county commissioner as far as getting that alley graded and put all the way through from Kelly to Chicago. And they're not going to tell us to come back to you guys.
I can't guarantee that. I can't promise that.
If they did, it's wrong.
Did you,
If it's wrong,
Brenda?
if they do, it's wrong.
You said you had a quote on gravel. Did you get a quote on gravel?
We figured 3 to 4 triaxles at $223,
So $900.
and I'm willing to do that. It probably wouldn't be such a big deal.
Take the $900 out of Chief Meeks' car fund. Nice going, Kurt.
That way, you know, I have neighbors behind me. She's not here, I don't think. And, you know, I like these people. And I know she didn't really want us to do it, but I think she more understands. But I wanted to open it up for her, you know, so, but they have a drive in and out. They're out on Logansport Road. So it wasn't, you know, a big deal, but I'm willing to Dave and I are willing to put the gravel down.
If the county says you can do it.
Yeah.
If they will allow you to do it.
I don't know why they wouldn't, but yes, you're right.
Yeah, they're gonna say, no, we're not gonna maintain it, but you can't maintain it either. That's, sounds like typical. Anything further? I don't know. Anything further? I don't know. We're gonna vote on it, and the plan commission has said no, we can vote to do it. And you've heard all the arguments, the pros and cons, and I guess nothing else is gonna get done, so we need to dispose of it one way or another.
What else needs to be done?
I don't know. I mean, the county's not, I mean, I guess it would just be nice if the county would spend the money to do that, but we can't get a...
Okay, I just want to be clear that there wasn't anything left undone.
No.
Thank you.
The only issue before the board now is New York Street.
Okay. Anything else? Your roll call.
Holland,
Being clear, we're voting to close.
you're voting to close it.
Yes.
To close it.
No.
We could take,
I thought, wait a second, I thought they
It
had
is
not
ordinance
given their
to
recommendation.
vacate an alley.
They did not get permission to do it. Their recommendation is no.
This
That's
is, you're
their
voting on an
recommendation.
ordinance to vacate an alley.
Right.
So you're voting to vacate this
Right.
alley.
Okay.
And yes, okay? Guston?
Yes?
Torrance?
Yes,
Lee?
yes.
Ally?
No.
Krauskopf?
No.
Langwell?
4-3. Okay.
So that, it has to pass by a vote of 2/3 to overturn the planning commission's recommendation. I believe that the motion fails. Is that correct? My head math?
It has to pass by 2/3.
Yes, to override the planning commission.
Fails.
Yep.
Okay.
What's that mean?
Means
It remains open.
did not
It's
close.
open.
So we get a year and come back with it.
All right, next we have ordinance 8, 2018.
Ordinance 8, 2018, an ordinance to amend ordinances.
Move we adopt ordinance 8, 2018.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Crosskopf and seconded by Councilman Guston to adopt ordinance 8, 2018.
Okay, we are, just changing some, huh?
A lot of work there.
Yep,
yes,
we're getting rid of ordinances that are no longer
Right.
Well,
yeah.
up to
these,
par.
just amending them to make
Okay.
them a little more current. This is all part of the ordinance update project that we started last year and have been working through, and this will be the last of the project. So,
Okay. Any questions? Any questions? Just cleaning things up, housekeeping. Roll call.
Holland?
Yes.
Guston?
Yes.
Torrance?
Yes,
Lee?
Yes.
Ally?
Yes.
Langwell?
Yes.
Krauskopf?
Yes.
The motion passes. Next, moving on to new business, we have Resolution 3, 2018.
Resolution 3, 2018, a resolution establishing rate tracking factor for the City of Peru Municipal Water Utility.
Move we consider Resolution 3, 2018.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Crosskopf and seconded by Councilwoman Langwell to consider ordinance 3, 2018. Roll call.
Holland?
Yes.
Guston?
Yes.
Torrance?
yes,
Lee?
Yes.
Ally?
Yes.
Langwell?
Yes.
Krauskopf?
Yes. Move we adopt Resolution 3, 2018.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Crosskopf and seconded by Councilman Guston to adopt Resolution 3, 2018.
The resolution here says it's going to go down very, 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 very slightly. 0.0000364 cents per kilowatt hour. So, don't spend it all in one place. Okay.
hold on. Kurt?
Yes.
I think that's incorrect.
Oh, well, that's what it says.
I'm sorry. We're talking resolution 3.
Resolution 4, I'm sorry, Resolution 4. I had the wrong one.
yeah.
I'm sorry, no, it's my fault.
That was for the water utility.
Yeah, we're on 3, though.
Ron?
Okay, I read 4, I'm sorry.
Resolution 3.
What are you doing? It's a question.
3,
Okay, that's fine.
3, that's my fault, I read the wrong one. So we're talking about the water utility right now, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and what are we doing with this?
Let's see, I believe in 2014, in the phase 1 of the original rate increase, we added in the, basically a cost of living raise, or that's incorrect, I'm sorry,
Inflation factor?
inflation raise, inflation factor raise through, in the rates through the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission. So the calculations based on that. So in 2014, it was less than 1%. 2015, it was less than 1%. 2016, I believe, was less than 1%. We didn't do it in 2017 because we had a 50% raise in 2017 because of 20 years of neglect. And so this time, it's 2.6% based on their calculation. And I believe the whole point of this was to reduce long-term raises in the rates, so we didn't have 57% again. So to do this every year. And I believe it's in the ordinance. It says the review and adjustments shall be performed annually. It shall be the responsibility of the service board to perform and review the adjustment calculations as required. And then it's stated the calculation is through the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission. So it'll be 11 cents on 1,000 gallons of usage, 62 cents on 3,000, normal 3,000, and 82 cents on a 5,000 gallon usage.
Average residential is?
3,000.
So 2.6?
2.6%.
Okay, well, that's what we passed 2 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, to allow them to do this, so we wouldn't have huge adjustments all at one time.
And I would offer due diligence in the later years after here in the next. We won't get a good feel for our AMI project with the, we think, a little bit of increased revenue that's supposed to pay for itself. But I would offer on this that we look at it we look at it and see here in 2 years where we are with that, and maybe this is something that we come before the council and say, okay, inflation has gone up 8%, we don't really need 8%, we don't need to do this maybe 1 year or so, but we need to perform due diligence on that once we get our AMI system in place. So I would offer that. I think this is a good thing. This keeps us from going for 50% or 20% or whatever later on, 5, 10 years from now. But I think I would definitely offer, as long as I'm here, we perform due diligence on this calculation.
Okay. Any question from the audience? Questions up here? Roll call.
Holland,
Yes.
Guston,
Yes.
Yes.
Torrance, Lee,
Yes.
Alley, Langwell,
Yes.
Krauskopf.
Yes.
Motion passes.
I just took up my 3% raise.
Next, we have Resolution 4, 2018.
Resolution 4, 2018, a resolution establishing rate tracking factor for the municipal electric utility of the city of Peru, Indiana.
That's the decrease.
I move we consider Resolution 4, 2018.
Second that.
It's been moved by Councilman Crosskoff and seconded by Councilwoman Torrance to consider Resolution 4, 2018. Roll call.
Holland,
Yes.
Guston.
Yes.
Torrance,
I lost my train of thought shoving everything in front of you like that.
I just,
On that.
no, all she wants,
rates.
we're just considering the resolution.
Okay. Yes.
thank you. Lee,
Yes.
Alley,
Yes.
Langwell,
Yes.
Krauskopf.
Yes. Move we adopt Resolution 4, 2018.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Crosskoff, seconded by Councilman Guston to adopt Resolution 4, 2018.
Okay. This is one we're going to decrease .0000364 per kilowatt hour. So the water utility takes it away and the electric utility giveth. So I don't think the .00 is going to equal the 2.6. Okay, this is just a quarterly rate tracking factor, which we address every 90 days, and this time it goes down. So, any questions from the audience? Any questions up here? A roll call.
Holland?
Yes.
Guston?
Yes.
Torrance?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Allie? Langwell?
Yes.
Krauskopf?
Yes.
The motion passes. Next, we have Resolution 5, 2018.
Resolution 5, 2018, a resolution to transfer appropriations.
Move we consider Resolution 5, 2018.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Crosskoff and seconded by Councilman Guston to consider Resolution 5, 2018. Roll call.
Holland?
Yes.
Guston?
Yes.
Torrance?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Allie?
Yes.
Langwell?
Yes.
Krauskopf?
Yes. Move we adopt Resolution 5, 2018.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Crosskoff and seconded by Councilman Guston to adopt Resolution 5, 2018.
So you just got some balances hanging out there, do you?
Yes.
Okay, and you'd like to consolidate them?
Yes, sir.
Zero them all out?
Yes.
Makes your balance sheet prettier.
Yes, it does.
We're not spending any money, we're just moving it from pocket A to pocket B?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions up here? Just general housekeeping? Questions from the audience? Roll call.
Holland?
Yes.
Guston?
Yes.
Torrance?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Allie?
Yes.
Langwell?
Yes.
Krauskopf?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Down there, and bring this closer. There you go. We're getting it. There we go.
Next, we have Ordinance 12, 2018.
Ordinance 12, 2018, an ordinance for additional appropriations.
Move we consider Ordinance 12, 2018.
Second.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Crosskoff and seconded by Councilman Guston to consider Ordinance 12, 2018. Roll call.
Holland? Excuse us.
Sorry. Excuse me. Yes.
Guston?
Yes.
Torrance?
Yes.
Lee?
Yes.
Allie?
Yes.
Langwell?
Yes.
Krauskopf?
Yes. We're not voting tonight, but we can, we're not voting to adopt it, but you can enlighten us a little bit what we're going to think about for next month.
Thank you, Council. Has everybody received in their packet one of the forms that we had filled out for the trucks replacement? Okay. Basically, what we're doing is replacing 2 trucks. They're small pickup trucks. One is our first out rescue that OIC will drive to the scene. It goes out pretty much on everything from fire to res. It's 16 years old. It's a point of life where it needs replaced. The other one is 15 years old. It's a pickup truck that we use for everyday use. Assistant Chief Robert Dane here has went through and done some great work as far as pricing. We've priced everything within our local community. Basically, we're at a sum of $64,404, and that's a possibility that could even go down. These numbers are pretty tight, but a couple little changes. One may be with the snow plow, just depends, but roughly that's the fact, the $64,000 is what we're asking for.
Is this paid for with fire territory money?
This comes out of the Fire Territory Equipment Fund, which we're at right now, 606,401 in that fund, so.
Okay. Any questions for the chief?
I went and saw those trucks. They look like they're brand new. Those guys have done a great job taking care of them, but they really need new vehicles. Definitely.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Council.
Make sure you give me $20. There's that, and ordinance 12, and we run out of ordinances, guys. Doggone. So, anything further besides Mr. Strebe? I'd like to say one thing. The people that have been running the second Saturday programs need to be commended.
Yes.
It's really nice for our community.
Yeah, absolutely.
Vicki Draper's the one that's been doing it. Kudos to her, definitely.
And Cassie,
I can't say her last
I can't, I always mess up her last name. She does a lot of work there, and Steve Anderson and everybody down at Rediscover Peru. Rediscover Downtown Peru.
Okay. Since we delayed listening to the presentation from Phil, we'll take it on now.
I may have made a mistake doing that, but just in case I ran long, I wanted to be last.
Well, there's no running long.
5 minutes.
You have 5 minutes.
You're on the clock.
You're on the clock. It's actually 4:55 now, so.
I've pared it down a little bit. I think I can do that. I just unplugged myself.
That's probably important. Okay.
And I'm guessing the microphone is on.
Yep.
Better to hear you with. It's definitely on now. It's off now. It's off.
Okay. For those of you who don't know me, this is not showing up on the screen.
I'll bring it up in a minute.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm Phil Strebe. I'm with several different rail passenger advocacy groups.
Phil, grab the mic, because you'll get on the recording better.
Oh, okay. I tend to move, so I'll take it with me. Once again, I'm Phil Strebe with the National Association of Railroad Passengers, the Indiana Passenger Rail Alliance, and the Rail Users Network. We three groups advocate for better, faster, and more frequent passenger rail service to connect Indiana cities and towns. We want to see a modern 21st century service.
Just kind of hit it on the backside. It'll, like an old TV.
Okay. Don't know why that's not. There we go. Our goals are simple. We want to improve and expand conventional intercity passenger train service in Indiana. To increase that connectivity, make jobs more available to Indiana residents. Skip ahead. And we'll skip that one too. Currently in our area we have the Cardinal and the Hoosier State. These provide 7-day-a-week service, 1 train a day only in one direction in the morning and the other direction in the afternoon. We found that 6 trains a day is usually the minimum that people choose to ride trains rather than choosing to drive. So those are our overall goals. Whatever routes we project, we'd like to see a lot of daily service to encourage people to use that service. These are some of the projects we currently have going on. We want to connect Chicago to Fort Wayne. There's currently, and this is what that route looks like, currently going, to connect eventually with Columbus, Ohio, and then perhaps points east, serving Pittsburgh, Harrisburg, Philly, New York, service that used to be there at one time. Other services include the North Shore service connecting South Bend to Chicago. That's currently being funded to double track that route to allow for more frequent usage. 7 days a week is what we'd like to see the Cardinal go to. NDOT has the money, they say, to make the Hoosier State also 7 days a week, which would give us 2 trains a day connecting Indianapolis to Chicago. So what does this have to do with Peru? I'm going to skip to the bottom line. Rising tide floats all boats. Modern passenger rail is one of the drivers of economic development in this country. I could cite various cities, but I have limited time, so I'll just cite one. Small town in Meridian, Mississippi, spent, I think it was $40 million, built a brand new intermodal station, which serves buses, trains, taxis, people in general. In return, they got about $140 million in private development surrounding that station. One of those private developments was a theater. That theater today presents the same shows you would get at the Kennedy Center in D.C., in Meridian, Mississippi. So aggressive economic growth will benefit all communities regardless of whether directly served by passenger rail Unfortunately, Peru is not on a passenger rail map and may not be, but we're always hopeful. But surrounding communities will benefit. I'm going to skip this slide. So to recap, initial investment is needed to improve the Hoosier State rail passenger service. We need support to move the northern Indiana projects forward. That's the Chicago, Fort Wayne, Columbus, and possibly points east. And we'd like to see Indiana join the 7-day Cardinal Interstate Compact. What that's all about is West Virginia has taken the lead, and they want all the states along that route to join their lead to advocate for support from the federal government to make that a 7-day service. If that takes place, then the federal government will pay for the Cardinal. Indiana then could pay for the second train a day, the Hoosier State. And if they say they have money for a second train now, that could give us perhaps a third train. So what are we looking for? Well, with the council's blessing and the mayor's cooperation, we'd like to have the mayor contact the General Assembly, the governor's office, and advocate for us. Help us to get this better train service. Thank you for your attention.
You still have a minute. Tell us what happened to your hair, Phil.
I washed it before I came here. Let's see here.
Yeah, we used to have daily train service through Peru.
Yeah.
But the tracks are no longer there. So, because I remember my father taking the train a number of times. But this is
Some of the older folks in town told me that when we had the interurban service here in Peru,
Yeah.
you could get to Indianapolis in about a little over an hour with stops. I don't think we can drive that today. I'm not going to worry about that for now.
Kirk, what was that other folder?
Oh, this is just ones that the homeowners cleaned up rather than, that's the one that the city cleaned up. And this is the one that individuals cleaned up. We said clean it up or we'll clean it up for you and charge it. So that's the ones they cleaned up, so.
Didn't that interurban at one time run down Jackson Avenue years and years ago?
I couldn't say.
I think it did.
Yeah.
I can't say anything about that, but when they were taking out the street lights along the secondary north-south streets, north and south of Broadway, I believe they found tracks still in place.
Oh, yeah.
Asked Mayor Haskett about that, and he told me that because they are state highways, or some portion of state, state highways, we couldn't do anything about it, but I had suggested back at that time when they were digging up the streets, maybe dig those rails and perhaps put a trolley on them for circus stays. Or strung, of course, because we don't have the overhead anymore. Unless you went with batteries.
You're getting better all the time. Anything further to come before the council? Anything further from the audience? Nope. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Gotta look at them.
Second. All's in favor, aye?
Aye.
We're out.